Hello, hello, hello! I am Kazasagi Usagi, and I am here with more Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, but we are moving on to Trials and Tribulations. There it is. I have no idea what this entails, but I'm very excited. Oh, that's right, we looked at this. It's Mia, and Phoenix, and this cute girl. Turnabout memories. How did I get into this mess? Why? Why did I do that? Uh-oh. That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake. If you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it! Don't talk about her like that. Oh, Phoenix, did you do bad? It wasn't me. I didn't. I didn't do it. Oh, Phoenix. 5 years earlier, Mia Fey, second trial. It's finally time. I'm kind of nervous. Oh, Mr. Grossberg, good morning. Mia, please calm yourself down. You're going to get yourself arrested for suspicious behavior, you know. What are you talking about? I'm relaxed, Mr. Grossberg. Look at me. I'm relaxed. Let go of my lapels. You obviously haven't got the temperament to be a lawyer. I'm so sorry. It's just that I'm so nervous today. Oh, that's right. This is your first time in the big leagues, isn't it? Well, never you fear, my dear. I'm Reverend Grossberg. I'm at your service. Actually, this is my second time in court. Still, you surprised me. What with your earnest request last night? Let me handle this case, you suddenly said. And quite forcefully, too. I just found out yesterday about the case. I mean, what? And you've already learned all the relevant facts? Well, about that. You see, of course I have, I think. Oh dear. In any case, don't let our client see you so nervous. You see the poor young man in the pink sweater over there? That's our client. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Try to keep smiling, Mia. I, just wanted to say, I'll give it all I got. Yep, it'll be fine. No problem. Achoo, achoo, achoo. Oh, what's wrong? Do you have a cold or something, Mr. Rye? Actually, it's Wright. Like the Flying Brothers. People screw it up all the time. And yes, I have a cold. That's what this mask is for. My doc says this way I won't give it to anyone else. Be kind to others, he said. Right, Mr. Wright. You have nothing to fear in court today. If you are truly innocent, I promise I will save you. Please let go of my shirt. That's right. He's the one on trial, not you. He's the one who should be nervous. You need to stay strong for your client, Mia. My name is Mia Fey. I'm still pretty new at this lawyer thing. The first time I appeared in court was a year ago. But that trial traumatized me so badly, I thought I'd never set foot in another courtroom. It's been 1 year since then, and well, here I am again. But this time I'm going to win. For my client, and for myself. court is now in session for the trial of Phoenix Wright. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense today is Miss Mia Fey, was it? Yes, Your Honor. Is there a problem? I was under the impression that Marvin Grossberg was to be leading the defense. Yes, well, you see, Mr. Grossberg had a bit of an emergency. Emergency? But I see him, isn't it him standing next to you? Yes, well, you're just a rookie. Are you sure you can handle this? Don't let him scare you, Mia. Give him your toughest look. Of course, Your Honor. I think. Well, Mr. Payne, your opening statement, please. Well. I can't believe a veteran like me has to spend his time babysitting a new defense lawyer. Don't worry, little girl. It will all be over soon. What was that all about? Was he trying to trash talk me? Now then, I'd like to proceed with a summary of events on the day in question. The incident occurred on the campus of the Ivy University. The murder victim was a student named Doug Swallow. He was a fourth-year student studying pharmacology. It sounds like he was a very bright young man. Yes, well, next we have a photo taken at the scene of the crime. The students discovered the scene shortly after the murder. They found the victim's body and the defendant, who had obviously bungled his getaway. Then they called the police. That certainly makes the defendant look very suspicious indeed. Very well. The court accepts this photo into the record as evidence. By the way, I can't quite tell the cause of death from this photo. Your reputation for sagacity is well earned, Your Honor. The truth is that this victim died a rather unusual death. An unusual death? What do you mean, Mr. Payne? Well, perhaps the defense would like to take the question. A simple question I thought I might loosen you up a bit. I am a gentleman, if you will. A what? Stand up to him, Mia. Show him what you're made of. Oh, a perfect opportunity. Well, what was it? The cause. Go on. Please say you know at least this much. I'm so sorry. I didn't get a chance to read through the whole file. Oh, my hemorrhoids are beginning to act up. Now see here. The details of the case are filed under the court record. But you knew that already, didn't you? Ah, the court record. I think I can see that by pressing the tab button. A fatal electric shock. All of the weapons we need can be found in the court record. Take a good hard look at the data there and think carefully before you answer, my dear. Yes, sir. I'll do just that. I've got to stay calm. I can't let that prosecutor get the better of me. Court record. Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, I've already done that. Now then, would the attorney for the defense please answer the question? What was the cause of death? According to the court record, it was a fatal electric shock. In other words, electrocution. Electrocution? But how could such a thing happen? Did the murderer use some type of new super powerful stun gun, perhaps? The answer to that will become crystal clear as this trial proceeds, Your Honor. But before that, there is one more vital issue. What's that? Why, motive, of course. Apparently there was some bad blood between the victim and the defendant. Bad blood? What do you mean? Oopsie, I'm terribly sorry. You're the defense attorney, so you must know all about it. I shouldn't be stealing your spotlight like this. I really don't like this guy's smug attitude. That's Winston Payne for you. He's one smooth operator, if you catch my drift. They don't call him the rookie killer for nothing, you know. Now then, let's hear from the defense. What was the source of the bad blood between the victim and the defendant? And this time, I would like to see some supporting evidence. Evidence? No need to get all worked up over this. As I said, all our weapons can be found in the court record. Find the evidence you need and then show it to the old Greybeard's face. Yes, sir. Into old Greybeard's face. Mr. Grossberg, try to set a better example for the young lady. Mia, evidence isn't the only thing this court record people's profiles are as well. You can toggle between profiles and evidence with the tab, so be sure to go over it all. Now then, let's see what you've got. What was the cause of the bad blood between Phoenix Wright and the victim? Ooh. Oh, her. The reason for the bad blood between the two of them was this woman here. Dahlia Horrorthorn, is it? Very good, Miss Faye. You seem to have picked up at least this much. This woman is the girlfriend of the defendant, Phoenix Wright. But up until about 8 months ago, she was with the victim, Mr. Swallow. Clearly she has some part to play in this story. Ah, he's done it again. Before the cross-examination starts, he's already got the judge thinking like he wants. Very well. Mr. Payne, please call your first witness. If it pleases the court, the prosecution would like to call Mr. Phoenix Wright. What, the defendant himself? Well, Miss Faye? It's fine. After all, Mr. Wright is innocent, right? The defense has no objection. Very well. The court calls Mr. Phoenix Wright to the witness stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Oh, yes. My name is Phoenix Wright. My job is, well, right now I guess I'm a suspect. No, he means what you did before you were arrested. Oh, I was a university student. Mr. Wright, you understand that you are suspected in the death of your fellow student, Doug Swallow. But I didn't do it. I'm innocent, I tell you. I'm telling you I was. Would the defendant please refrain from passing on his cold to the rest of us? It seems the witness has something he wants to say. Well then, Mr. Wright, please tell us about your relation to the victim. Right away, Your Honor. Oh boy. I admit I was there. But I'm not a killer. All I did was find his body. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. I never even talked to that stuck-up British wannabe. I see you are. So you hardly knew the victim? Right, like I said, I'm not a killer. Looks like the judge understands. Ugh, you being naive, you know. Too naive. Huh? It seems that you have forgotten one small thing, young lady. And that would be... this witness still has to undergo something called cross-examination. Cross-examination? He's right, and it's the defense's duty to carry out the cross-examination. The purpose is to determine if a witness's testimony contains any contradictions. Contradictions? If a witness is lying, their statements will conflict with the court record. But Mr. Wright is my client. Even if he's your client in court, all lies must be struck down. As a lawyer, that is your duty, you see. What does he mean by that? Is he saying that testimony just now? There was a lie? A contradiction? Now then, your cross-examination, if you please, Miss Faye. Please, Mr. Wright, tell me you haven't been lying. You wouldn't do that to me, would you? I admit, I was there. When you say there, you mean the place where the victim was murdered? Yeah, sort of. The place where something happened, anyway. Something? You can't hide what happened. We have photographic evidence. Anyway, Mr. Wright, what were you doing at the scene of the crime? I thought you said you didn't know the victim, Mr. Swallow. It was just a coincidence. We bumped into each other by accident. A coincidence, huh? But I'm not a killer. All I did was find his body. You say you found the body, so who called the police? Unfortunately, it was some other students that notified the police. Other students? That's correct. They were witnesses. The witnesses who saw the defendant standing there next to the body in shock. What is this true, Mr. Wright? Could you stop sneezing every time you're in a bind? Well, it's true that I was pretty shocked when I found the body, but I hardly knew the guy to begin with. So you didn't know his face or even his name, right? Right! Well, no. That is, I mean... So, which is it? Do you know him or not? Now see, you can't avoid answering the question by sneezing all day. Well, I guess I did know his name. News to me. Why didn't he tell me that before? I hear he used to date Dolly. Who is this Dolly person? I guess that would be the defendant's lover, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh, I see. Ah, young love, so bittersweet. But that's all I knew about him. I'd never even talked to that stuck-up British wannabe. Mr. Wright, you stated that the following in your testimony. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. That's right. I mean, why would I even... But that doesn't sound right. If you hardly knew him, then why would you say that the victim was a stuck-up British wannabe? Well, Mr. Wright? No, it wasn't me. I'm not a killer, I swear. Mr. Wright, I will give you an opportunity to revise your testimony. How is it that you knew who the victim was, as you put it, a British wannabe? Yes, well... He was always walking around with a huge Union Jack on the back of his shirt. Did you see it at the crime scene? The Union Jack, I mean? Yes, that's right. I saw it at the crime scene. That's why I figured he must love British stuff, see? It's true, cross my heart. I swear I didn't do it. He's acting fishier than those salmon I ate last night. May I ask you something, Miss Fay? Yes, Your Honor. What is it now? Who is this person anyway? This Union Jack fellow. The Union Jack is the name of the United Kingdom's flag. Oh, I see. So you mean like the stars and stripes, right? As usual, Your Honor, your insight astounds me. Hey, something just occurred to me. Isn't there something strange about this bit just now? Mia, there's a contradiction here. Mr. Grossberg, quickly now, show that boy you mean business, with evidence, I mean. Okay, Mia, check the court record carefully. Well, my dear, do you think you can manage on your own from this point? 1 year ago, I was in a courtroom just like this. I can do it. I can handle this myself. Oh, you mustn't try to bite off more than you can chew, Mia. I'll be fine. I know what I have to do. Remember, you could always press him to get more information. Oh, and one more thing. When you're going to state a contradiction, make sure you present some definitive proof. Okay, Mia. One more time. From the very beginning of his testimony. Hardly knew the guy. He doesn't have a flag on the back of his jacket. Objection! Are you certain you saw the Union Jack? Yeah, I'm sure. It was right there on his back. Miss Fay, is there a point in this line of questioning? Your Honor, please take another look at this crime scene photo. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing on the victim's back. Hey, wait a minute! He's wearing a leather jacket! The Union Jack was on the back of the t-shirt he was wearing. I was under the impression that you accidentally came across the body, but if that really was the case, then you wouldn't know that, would you? You'd have no idea at all what he was wearing underneath that jacket. Mr. Wright, you've been lying to me. Please forgive me. Mia, you've made Clay cry. Let him. That P on his chest doesn't stand for Phoenix anyway. I can't believe I trusted him. Mr. Wright was all wrong. That was an impressive bit of cross-examination. Thank you for uncovering the defendant's lies for me. It's quite clear that this man did not simply stumble upon the scene of the crime. Uh-oh. Did I go too far? By the way, Mr. Wright, you seem to have a rather bad cold. Have you taken any medicine for it? Yeah, I took some, but... Was the medicine that you took an over-the-counter brand called Cold Killer X? Yeah, that's right. It kills colds good. Hey, wait a second. How did you know that I'm a big fan of Cold Killer X? Would you happen to have that medicine with you right now? Well, actually, I seem to have lost it somewhere. You lost it? Does this have anything to do with the case? Mr. Wright, shall I tell you where your cold medicine is right now? Your Honor, I'd like you to take another look at the photo from this crime scene. What's this? It's in the victim's hand. It's Cold Killer X. Yes, but even I have a bottle of Cold Killer X in my apartment. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that argument won't work. There's no doubt as to who this bottle of Cold Killer X belongs to, especially since Mr. Wright's fingerprints are all over it. What? Sensing his murderous intent, Mr. Swallow must have picked up the bottle of medicine dropped by Mr. Wright and hid it in his hand. His purpose for doing so could only have been to identify his killer as Phoenix. Order at the court. Your Honor, I'd like to present this photo and bottle as evidence. Very well. The court will accept them into the record. So the victim's wristwatch was broken? Yes, it ceased functioning when a large wave of electricity passed through it. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have some kind of explanation for all this? This is really bad. Oh, my buttocks. My poor hemorrhoids. The truth is, I went because he called me. He was in the pharmacology department, so we agreed to meet at 2:45 behind the building. We talked for a bit, and then at around 3 we split up. And then later, when I went back, I found him lying there. I've been taking Cold Killer X for the last 2 or 3 days, but I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime, on the day of the accident. Mr. Wright, that's completely different from the testimony you gave previously. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was afraid you wouldn't believe the truth. You forgive me if I say I hardly find your current testimony any more credible. Miss Faye, please begin your cross-examination. Oh, please, Mr. Wright, don't tell any more lies. The truth is, I went because he called me. Had you ever met with the victim before then? No, never. But that day, he called me up and told me he wanted to talk about Dolly. And this Dolly person is my, it's kind of embarrassing. She's my, sweetheart. Oh, what was that for, Mia? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like slapping something all of a sudden. Dahlia Hawthorne was also the lover of the murder victim Doug Swallow. Before she met Mr. Wright, that is. It was one of those nasty love triangles, I see. He was in the pharmacology department, so we agreed to meet at 2:45 behind that building. Was it Mr. Swallow who indicated that you should meet at 2:45? Yeah, and we were both there, right on time. You said the victim was in the pharmacology department, correct? Yeah, he was studying how to manufacture and improve pharmaceuticals. Everyone called him the alchemist of IVU. An alchemist, I see. I gotta admit, I was a little suspicious. He had a whole laboratory and everything. It was filled with chemicals and strange machines that ran on high voltage electricity. Oh, how fascinating. He sounds like he was quite an ambitious young man. What do I do? Maybe I should ask him for some more details? So you were absolutely certain that you met at 2:45? Yeah, pretty sure. That's the time class ends. But they're always doing experiments, so it doesn't matter much. Experiments? Yeah, those pharmacology guys are always in the lab whipping up something. Well, looks like he's right about the time anyway. Witness, let's go on with your testimony. I'm gonna back it up. I'll get the other one. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the pharmacology department. Well, okay, sure. I don't know all that much, though. A little bit earlier in your testimony, you said something interesting. You said the department uses strange machines that run on high voltage electricity. That's right. And they sure look dangerous. They use non-standard voltage, so there's high voltage cables everywhere. High voltage cables? Yeah, there are electrical poles set up all around the building. The high voltage cables run overhead around the roof. Finally, I think we're getting somewhere. We talked for a bit, and then around 3, we split up. So what was it you were talking about? You know, that maybe we should hang out again sometime. Hang out again sometime? I wish that were true. Then later, when I went back, I found him lying there. So you say you went back? Yeah, that's when I found the body. Yes, but why did you go back in the first place? Weren't you angry with him? Well, that's right, I was. Then why, Mr. Wright? Why did you go back there? I thought maybe we could make up. Judging by the atmosphere, I'm pretty sure no one is buying this. I've been taking Cold Killer X for the last 2 or 3 days. It's rather unusual to catch a cold this time of year, isn't it? Yeah, I always get a little careless when the weather starts to warm up. I guess I shouldn't be sleeping with the window open this early in spring, huh? I suppose common sense is not always common. So, did anyone else know that you were taking cold medicine? Well, I always took one after meals, so I'm pretty sure all my friends knew about it. But I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. On the day of the incident? What did you do for lunch? Huh? What does that have to do with anything? You can never be too sure. I always eat with Dolly, just the 2 of us. Dolly's homemade lunches are just the greatest. Her mini omelets are magically delicious. Ouch! Why did you punch me in the jaw? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like hurting someone all of a sudden. I think that's enough for now. So the defendant and the victim met at approximately the time of his death, and then the defendant returned to the scene for some unknown reason. I'm not entirely convinced by his explanation about the medicine bottle either. Let me be frank here, Mr. Wright. Your testimony cannot be trusted. What do you mean? I knew it was too much work for the little girl. However, there is one mystery that still remains. There is, Your Honor? How the murder was carried out, of course. Just how was the victim electrocuted? I don't believe the murder weapon has been produced yet, correct? Well, that is you are correct, Your Honor. So how exactly was Mr. Swallow killed? If I could somehow establish how it was done, maybe I could come out of this mess smelling like a rose. I don't think I can. I do have one idea, but it wouldn't be impossible to prove it. Mia, my dear, if you have any ideas, now is the time to present them. Mr. Grossberg, remember, silence is not golden. In court, anyway. Silence is not golden, huh? Well, in that case... Your Honor. Yes, Miss Faye. I believe that if we were to piece together everything we've heard up until now, we should be able to solve the mystery of how Mr. Swallow died.
That would be most impressive.
Quite the brash statement coming from a rookie. But even a beginner like you must understand the basic rules of the court, yes? An attorney must be able to substantiate their arguments with evidence. Ha, of course I know that. Actually, I had totally forgotten about that. Now then, Miss Faye, let me see what you've got. Show me how you believe the victim was electrocuted. Oh, Jesus. It's this, obvious. But Alright, fine. It just seems so incriminating to Phoenix. As for the cause of death, I'd say this picture captures it quite well.
What?
But there is nothing there that even resembles a murder weapon. I'm afraid the defense is going to have to explain in a bit more detail. Miss Faye, where exactly in this photo is the murder weapon? Well, naturally, it's right here.
What is that?
A severed electrical cable, I believe, Your Honor. Remember the testimony we've heard? The machines the pharmacology students use in their experiments require high voltage, and because of that, there are special high voltage cables strung up everywhere. So the high voltage cable... Yes, the high voltage cable is the cause of death. That is the most likely explanation.
That certainly sounds plausible. Well, Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this?
Well, I believe some praise is in order. Don't toy with me, old man. No, the victim's cause of death may indeed have been a high voltage cable. However, I want you to think about what that really implies. The only one who had the opportunity to use the cable as a murder weapon was the defendant.
That much is certainly true.
Yes, that's not all. We have proof. Irrefutable proof that will establish that Mr. Wright was the murderer.
You do? Well, what is it?
His fingerprints.
Fingerprints?
You mean the defendant's fingerprints were on something besides the medicine bottle? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, the victim is wearing a leather jacket. And as you may know, leather holds fingerprints quite well. You mean? Yes, it was quite clearly imprinted on the chest area of the victim's jacket. The palm print of the defendant's very own hand. What? I can only think of one way Mr. Wright could have left a print like that. Intent on murder, he squarely pushed the victim towards the severed electrical cable.
Order. That's enough. I think we can conclude that there is no reason to continue with this cross-examination. Stick a fork in us, we're done.
Mr. Grossberg?
My hemorrhoids never lie. The show is over, Mia. I knew that boy was guilty the first time I saw him.
No, you're wrong. Mr. Wright is innocent.
No further evidence is required to convince me of this man's guilt.
Your Honor.
At this time, I'm prepared to render a verdict in this case. Do you have something further to add, Miss Faye?
Is this what you want, Mr. Wright?
You still haven't told us the truth, the whole truth. If you don't say something now, the judge is going to hand down his verdict.
But I can't. I just can't say it. If I told you what really happened, then I'd be... It's okay, Mr. Wright. I'm your attorney. You can trust me. Miss Faye, no matter what it is you have to say, I believe in you, and I'll represent you to the very end. We've already established the defendant's guilt. There's no further need for him to say anything. Wait a minute. Mr. Wright, I'll tell you what really happened. But I've already told you, Mr. Wright, there's no need for further. I did it. I admit it. I pushed him. It's my fault. My fault that Doug Swallow is dead. That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake. If you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. What you just said, was that the truth? Yes, I was afraid. Afraid that if I told the truth, everyone would think I was the murderer for sure. Well, as things currently stand, we're all absolutely convinced you are. Please give me one more chance to explain. This time I swear I'll tell the truth. It'll be okay, won't it, Miss Faye? I believe in you. Oh, thank you. I still can't believe it. You really did push the victim. Oh, I feel like my hemorrhoids are doing the Harlem Shake. That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. I lost my temper and gave him a shove. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after I left, I started to get worried. So I went back, but he was just lying there dead. Well, the explanation is really quite simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow flew back and touched the electrical cable. He died from the shock, and that, as they say, is that. A simple explanation indeed. At the time of the incident, a light rain had been falling. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted. But when I pushed him, there wasn't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, even I would have noticed it. That's true. Even a doofus like him couldn't miss that. Miss Faye, let me warn you right now that if your cross-examination doesn't yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without further delay. Are we clear on that? Yes, Your Honor. Don't give up, Mia. If he is innocent, there must be some kind of evidence somewhere that will prove it. That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. So, what kinds of things did Mr. Swallow say to you? He said all sorts of terrible things about Dolly. He said that she was a bad girl. Is that all? Yep. Well, Miss Faye, you heard him yourself. Oh boy, you're not doing yourself any favors here, Mr. Wright. Please don't make this harder for me than it already is. Anyway, after he said that, I lost my temper and gave him a shove. Can you tell me about what happened in a little more detail? That guy, he just said what he wanted to say to me. And then he put on the jacket he was holding and started to leave. That's when I lost my temper and flew into a furious frenzy. I just gave him a light, gentle shove to the chest. And when you did that, there was no severed cable anywhere to be seen? Right! There was nothing like that at all. But it is possible that you merely overlooked it. Well, I guess it's possible. What are you doing? Don't let that guy steamroll over you like cheap asphalt. I believe what's important here is the moment the push occurred. Let's continue on with the testimony, witness. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A loud noise? And what would you say that loud noise was, Mr. Wright? I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It was like, you know, come to think of it, I wonder what that was. Clearly Your Honor, it was the sound of the victim being electrocuted. You're not qualified to decide that. What should I do? I'm treading on some dangerous ground here. Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important, so try to remember what it was. How do I put it? It was like a sharp crack. Ah, could it have been... Yes, could it have been? Hurry up and tell us. When I pushed him, he dropped the umbrella he was holding. He fell right on top of it, and it broke. That was probably the noise I heard. An umbrella, huh? And did that umbrella belong to the victim? Yeah, it was plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, kind of like the owner. But then again, I wish I had any kind of umbrella. I was totally soaked to the bone. Miss Faye, what do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now? Well... This is it, Mia. The new information you've been waiting for. Of course it's important. No, this new Bella is more important. It's vital. I want to officially have it entered into the testimony. Perfectly fitting. Flimsy information for a flimsy lawyer. The court agrees to the defense's request. Witness, please add that bit about the cheap umbrella to your testimony. After I shoved him, he fell down on top of his umbrella. He didn't.
Objection!
Why didn't you testify about the umbrella from the very beginning? Come on, if I had mentioned that, I would have been able to counter the prosecution's arguments earlier. What do you mean by that? Take another look at the crime scene photo. According to Mr. Wright, the victim fell on top of his umbrella. However, if you look closely, the umbrella is nowhere near the victim. Actually, it's by the electrical pole. You're absolutely right. The conclusion here is obvious. After the defendant left, the victim moved from where he fell. In other words, after he was pushed by the defendant, Mr. Swallow was still alive. Oh. No! Order, order, order. The victim, he moved. Mr. Payne, the umbrella in this photo, where is it now? Well, it was collected by the police at the crime scene. I want to present it as evidence immediately. But the umbrella could have simply been blown there by the wind. According to the testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella. There's simply no way it could have been blown by the wind. But I know this matter of the umbrella seems relatively trivial, but as long as the smallest doubt remains, I cannot render final judgment. No! I must say, I still find it hard to believe that a huge hole has been blown in the prosecution's case by the defendant's testimony. Well done, Mia. Mr. Payne, what are you chuckling about? Pardon me, Your Honor. It seems I was expecting too much of a free ride. It was foolish to think I could establish guilt through cross-examination alone. I'm afraid I don't follow what you're saying. Let me guess. You have another witness? Exactly. And this witness testimony will be incontrivable. Well, who is this witness? Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne? You don't mean Dolly? I do, Your Honor. The defendant's very own lover is a witness to the whole thing. That's right. She was at the scene of the crime when the murder took place. What? I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, my dear. Bad news? You couldn't be more wrong. Actually, I've been waiting for this. You can't be serious. Mia, what do you mean by that? I think this is a good point for us to stop. That court will now enter a 20-minute recess. Afterwards, we will listen to the testimony of Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Miss Faye, I'm sorry about what happened back there. It's alright. At least you told us the truth in the end, Mr. Wright.
Yeah. So I guess I can start to relax then, huh?
Relax, my boy. You can't be serious.
But the next witness is my dolly, right?
She'll save me. I just know she will.
Why do you think that?
Huh? What do you mean? She's the love of my life. That's why.
The love of your life, huh?
Would you mind telling me more about you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne?
Sure, no problem. Dolly and I, we first met about 8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse. Actually, I'm studying to be a lawyer on the side. Anyway, one day, she and I just bumped into each other in the reading room downstairs. That's why I really think it was fate that brought us together. As soon as I first set eyes on her, I knew she was for me. Oh, here, take a look at this. She gave this to me the day we met as a symbol of our love. She had been wearing it around her neck that day, but then she took it off before she gave it to me and said, "I want you to carry this."
She gave it to you as a present. I see.
This darling little bottle is filled with memories of my darling little dolly.
It's certainly a little bottle, all right. Yeah, he absolutely is.
It makes me so happy. I show it to everyone I meet. I want to share my happiness with the whole world.
Dahlia is very cute, though.
I will take a sippy. I will take many sippies.
Anyways, oops. So after that, you and Miss Hawthorne started dating?
Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me.
Please give it back now. What a strange girl, asking for a present back like that.
By the way, Mr. Wright.
The day you first met Dahlia Hawthorne 8 months ago. It wouldn't happen to have been on August 27th, would it? Huh? Yeah, it was! But how did you... This happened on August 27th, right here in this courthouse. What's this? A newspaper clipping? Let's see. Murder in the courthouse. Murder? What are you reading there? Let me see that. Oh, I see. Mia, I think I understand what you're trying to say. And I think I understand why you suddenly took such a keen interest in this case. You believe there is some connection between these two cases, am I correct? I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind, Mr. Grossberg. I need to finish this myself. Oh, yes, but I'm afraid you will not, I'm afraid what you have will not be enough, my dear. I'll go and have a look in the downstairs reading room and see what else I can find.
Thank you.
I want to do whatever I can to be of help to you, Mia. Well, it looks like recess is about over. We all better get moving.
I guess so. That recess sure seemed longer than 20 minutes, though.
Well, the first ones aren't usually so long. How exciting. This game is gonna be lengthy. I can feel it in my bones. Court will now reconvene. Mr. Payne, please call your witness. The next person is someone who witnessed the crime as it happened. Prosecution calls... Oh yeah, the second one did feel longer than the... Well, I don't know. Because the first one had that DLC. Yeah. The prosecution calls Miss Dahlia Hawthorne to the stand. She's so cute. She's got butterflies. This girl's trouble. You can just... What's with the stiff silence? In my long career as judge, I've been deceived by many witnesses. It's my job to take no one at their word. But in your case, I must admit that you radiate a glow of complete sincerity. I can't believe he actually said that. Oh, now then, witness, could you please state your full name? I am... Don't worry, sweetie. There's no need to be nervous. If anyone says anything rude, you can be sure I'll cut them right down to size. And I will bash them with my gavel. I love how they look straight at me when they say that. Thank you. For calming my nerves. You are all so nice. I almost feel right at home. Not at all. Oh, it was nothing. If we may move on now, what is your full name and occupation? She's so cute. My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I'm a junior in literature at Ivy University. I just want to say it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence. The honor is all mine. No, the honor is all mine. Well, we know whose milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. There are some references in this game. We've done the Harlem Shake and the milkshake. Woof. Sir, is there something I can help you with? You just go on and say whatever is on your mind. I'm sure that there must be some kind of mistake. Feeny wouldn't kill anyone. I just know it. Yes. I can see why you'd say that. She's going to be a tough witness, all right. It only took her 12 seconds to wrap them all around her little finger. Now then, please proceed with your testimony. Let's hear about what you witnessed on the day of the incident, if you please. You know how I know she's bad? Because her name is Dahlia. And, let me double check. But I believe dahlias are, a flower that represents death? Yeah, dahlias carry a few negative connotations, including betrayal, dishonesty, and instability. So I don't trust this little tart, this little hussy. I've been planning to go back to Feeny's place after class was over. Feeny and Dougie, they were talking behind the building. Then suddenly, Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed. That's when Feeny noticed that I was there. I went to go and find some other students, and they called the authorities. I don't know what to say. According to you, Miss Hawthorne. The defendant didn't do anything wrong. Young lady, As old as I am, even I recall how hot the flames of young passion can burn. Nevertheless, it is my job to discover the truth. This man's hair is like a wang, a little dingle doodle, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Please, tell us the truth. But I would never. That's more than enough, witness. I won't allow this to continue. What do you mean by that? Please, just let me proceed with my cross-examination, Your Honor. I, for one, don't plan to win my case on a bunch of paper-thin lies. You haven't changed a bit. Mia Fey. What's this? You two are acquainted? Yes. We've met before. Once. In any case, Miss Fey, the floor is all yours. It's good to see you again, Madam Fey. Madam? I'm no one's grandma yet, girlie. I had been planning to go back to Feeney's place after class was over. Now, unless I'm mistaken, Feeney, Mr. Wright is in the art department? If that's the case, then what were you doing by the pharmacology building? Aw, goodbye, Seth. Well, I'm in the literature department. I'm studying Japanese, senryu poetry. Oh, how wonderful! Isn't that humorous yet satirical style of haiku, yes? Ooh. Nothing left to do when a man reaches this age. Sleep is his best friend. That's supposed to be poetry? Sounds like more like a midlife crisis. Goodbye! For me to get to the art department, I have to walk through that back area. Oh, yes, I see. That makes sense. When I went to enter the courthouse, I always walk in through the front doors. How else would you enter? Teleportation? Feeney and Dougie, they were talking behind the building. So who is this Dougie person? Oh, I'm sorry. Doug Swallow. We were dating until about 8 months ago. So what were Dougie, Mr. Swallow and Mr. Wright talking about anyway? How can you be so mean? I would never eavesdrop. I wasn't raised to be so rude and unrefined. That's right, Miss Fey. Don't drag the witness down to your level. Why am I being demonized here? Please go on. What did you see next? Then suddenly, Ducky got all wobbly and just collapsed. Are you saying that the victim just collapsed on his own? Yes. Hello, and happy Pride Month to you. In other words, the defendant never touched the victim, is that right? I was watching the whole time. Feeney never did a thing to Dougie. If I press her for no good reason, I just know the judge will get angry with me. So what should I do about her testimony just now? He just sort of fell on his own. I suppose her statement works in our favor for now. I'll hold off on looking into it any deeper until it's necessary. Very well, young lady. Please go on with your testimony. That's when Feeney noticed that I was there. And what did Mr. Wright say when he saw you? I'm sorry. I was so flustered that I really don't remember. Please forgive me. You don't remember? Well, that's common enough. Sometimes I can't recall a sentence I passed only minutes prior. Please, anyone stop him before he gets hurt by me. I went to go and find some other students, and they called the authorities. When you say students, do you mean students from the pharmacology department? Yes, they're all very fond of their drugs. Please try to stay on topic. So, to find some pharmacology students, you went to the labs, correct? That's what I was planning to do, but in the end I wound up not going. A group of about 10 research students came running out of the building entrance. Somehow they all seemed to know what was going on. The students knew what was going on. But how could the students have known what was going on? Well, I don't know for sure that they knew what had happened. It's just they all seemed kind of excited about something. It doesn't look like I'm going to get any more info about the students. So the students called the police? Yes, I was just so panicked. Yes, well, anyone would have, my dear. That girl, she's telling a super obvious lie, and she knows it. She's just pretending to protect Mr. Wright. Yes, that's got to be it. Way to go, Mia. Okay, that means I'm going to have to dig deep to find the contradiction on this one. Okay. It's this one, I think. Are you saying the victim just collapsed? Yes. In other words, the defendant never touched the victim. I was watching the whole time. If I press her for no good reason, I know the judge will get angry with me. Show contradiction. Feeble lies are not very becoming, Miss Hawthorne, so let's drop them, shall we? What? I would never. Miss Faye, I will not allow you to badger this witness. I believe the defense is engaged in a fishing expedition. That is, she has no supporting... Please don't glare at me like that. I'm just doing my job. Now then, Miss Hawthorne. The defendant's palm print was found on Mr. Swallow's leather jacket. It has already been shown that Mr. Wright did, in fact, push the victim. What? There's no need to try to cover for the defendant. It would be much better if you came out and told us the whole truth. There's nothing to worry about, young lady. Just tell us everything that you saw. Yes, Your Honor. I will, if you don't mind. I'd like to revise my testimony. Looks like we're finally getting somewhere. Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie. You didn't see it? Well, I saw the moment when Dougie fell to the ground. And at that time, there was only 2 of them at the scene. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and the victim, Doug Swallow. Yes, that's right. It didn't look like they were fighting, and I didn't hear anything unusual either. So then, what did it look like they were doing to you? I thought they were having a nice, friendly afternoon conversation. Oh, give me a break. That's why I really wasn't watching them all that closely. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? No, nothing at all, Mr. Judge. Oh, I like the sound of that, Mr. Judge. Now then, please proceed with your testimony. I went to go and find some other students, and they called the authorities. Let's tell me a super obvious lie. I didn't hear anything unusual either. You say you didn't hear anything unusual? Is that correct? Yes, that's why I was very relaxed looking at the scenery around me. That's nice, but I find that a little odd. I have here the testimony of your boyfriend, Mr. Phoenix Wright, and he clearly testified to the effect that when he pushed the victim, he heard a sharp, loud noise. He said that. Were you really... If you were really that close to the 2 of them, why didn't you hear this noise as well?
Maybe the noise just wasn't all that memorable. But according to Mr. Wright's testimony, it was a sharp noise like a snap. There's no way a noise like that could fail to make an impression. Ah. May I have a moment to answer?
Well, by all means.
I know the reason why I didn't hear the noise. You see, the truth is, I had my headphones on and I was listening to music at the time. Headphones? You mean the both of your ears were covered? The rain was just beginning to let up, but it seemed as though Thor wasn't ready for his fun to come to an end yet. So the sky continued to flash and rumble. The thunder and lightning, huh? Yes, I'm afraid the sound of thunder. So I put the headphones on to block it out. Well, Your Honor, as you can see, there weren't any contradictions in her testimony after all. Wait a sec, Mia. That testimony just now. She said something that could totally change this whole case. Your Honor, there is a problem with the witness's testimony.
What do you mean?
Didn't you notice? She said there was lightning, correct?
Yes, what about it?
Well, lightning is actually a large discharge of electricity in the atmosphere. Am I right?
Now's not the time for a science lesson, Miss Fay.
Yes, Your Honor. Anyway, since the cause of death was electrocution, isn't it possible that the victim died from being hit by a bolt of lightning? Oh.
I must admit that the thought hadn't occurred to me.
Just what kind of thoughts do occur to this guy anyway? This entire case is built on the premise that Mr. Doug Swallow was murdered, but that very premise itself is mistaken. The defense believes that Mr. Swallow was in fact the victim of a stray bolt.
It appears the defense may be onto something. Could it be that the death was actually accidental?
Alright, you did it, Mia. I'll be taking that not guilty now of you. I'm hurt that you have such a low opinion of me, Miss Fay. I'm not a fool, you know. The prosecution has done its research, Your Honor. We found that there were no lightning strikes on the day of that day at that location. What's more, we have evidence that the electrical cable is definitely linked to this case.
Evidence, Mr. Fay? Well, what is this evidence?
This affidavit.
And who is this affidavit from?
The pharmacology students who were conducting experiments in their labs that day. Allow me to read out to the court the testimony of the pharmacology students. All equipment in the labs lost power all of a sudden at around 3 p.m. that day.
Was it a blackout?
All of the lab's equipment runs on high voltage, Your Honor. So you're saying the equipment lost power because... Precisely. They lost power because of the severed electrical cable. The power outage occurred at approximately 3 p.m.,
which fits with the time of death listed in the autopsy report.
Exactly. In other words, the victim died as a result of touching the severed electrical cable. According to the students, the cables were very old. They were planning on having them replaced in the near future.
I see.
Apparently the cables had become so brittle that even the smallest bump would have caused them to break.
However, there is one thing that troubles me. If the cable could have been broken by any small bump, then it wouldn't have snapped. If it had been bumped into, correct?
Well, I suppose you could say that.
Miss Fay, do you have any thoughts regarding the cause of the severed cable?
Your Honor? I don't like how this is looking one bit. I have to come up with something to try to regain some momentum. If it pleases the court, the defense would like to state its opinion.
Well then, let's hear it. Who or what was it that caused the cable to break?
I don't think this is... I don't know. Because Phoenix just pushed him. What we've gotten so far is that Phoenix pushed him onto the ground, and that's how the umbrella broke. So I don't think it's Phoenix. I might need to back this up a bit. I think I get ahead of myself too much. Ugh. This doesn't feel right, but I like... Your Honor, please think back to Mr. Wright's testimony. The defendant's testimony? He said that after he pushed the victim, he heard a loud, sharp noise. Now, this happened at around 3 p.m., correct? Yes, that sounds right. Wait, are you saying that the lab equipment lost power at 2:55, which fits right into Mr. Wright's timeline? In other words, it was Mr. Wright's shove that caused the power outage. How? Yes, the prosecution also came to that same conclusion. And it was that very shove that caused Mr. Swallow to be electrocuted. I'm afraid I can't agree with you there, Mr. Payne. What's that supposed to mean? Take a good look at where the victim landed after being shoved. See the umbrella? It's by the electrical pole. Yeah. Because I already knew all of this, but we have to go back over it, which is where I got all jumbled. That's right. The victim banged into that pole as a result of being pushed. It was that impact that caused the cable to break. Well, that makes sense. And then the victim was electrocuted. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but no, it doesn't make sense at all. If the victim was shoved into the far pole, then he wouldn't have been electrocuted by this severed cable in the foreground here. In other words, someone other than my client must have electrocuted the victim. Order! Order in the court! The lamentations of my enemy. How I've longed to hear them. Is this true? The defense is absolutely correct. There doesn't seem to be any way the defendant could have done it. Mr. Judge, sir, may I say something? The Madam Attorney's explanation She said some things that are a little different than I remember them. What? Please, just once more. May I please testify one last time? Please, Mr. Judge?
Of course, it's all right. Just go right ahead and give your new testimony.
This is it. She's finally starting to show her true colors. The truth is, Feeny pushed him twice. The first time was into the electrical pool. That's when the cable broke. Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him, but Feeny caught up and crashed into him from behind. The cable snapping and Dougie being electrocuted, it all occurred in less than a minute.
So after being shoved, the victim got up and tried to run away?
And that is when the defendant pushed him for the second time. I'm so sorry, Feeny, but I just have to tell the truth. Am I doing the right thing? Am I, Mr. Judge?
Of course you are. As painful as it may seem, you are. Now then, Miss Faye, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
The truth is, Feeny pushed him twice. Miss Hawthorne, previously in your testimony, you said the following. Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie. I know. I'm sorry. I wanted to protect Feeny. So, that's why you basically lied to the court? I was a bad girl. I know. Mr. Judge?
Yes.
Would you please forgive little old me?
Of course he won't. What you did is called perjury. Oh, come now. It's just a little white lie. We'll forget it this time, but please be more careful from now on, all right?
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Judge.
Not at all.
The judge had better be more careful himself. A dark alley is friendlier than that girl. The first time was into the electrical pole. That's when the cable broke. You're saying you actually saw the victim get pushed into the electrical pole? I know he doesn't look it, but Feeny can be a bit of an imp when he wants to be. Oh, really? But I never imagined that he would cause an electrical cable to break. Feeny really is scary when he gets mad.
Yes, he sounds very dangerous individual indeed.
Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him. But Feeny... Oh. So let me get this straight. You were happily listening to music on your headphones while you watched this scene unfold. Oh. Miss Faye, I'll have to ask you to stop badgering the witness. I wasn't happy. I was scared that I couldn't even move. All I could do was stand there and cheer them on. Cheer them on? What do you mean by that? Well, I wish the best for them both, and that they would each give the fight their all.
That's very sweet of you to be so supportive.
And what happened after that? But Feeny caught up and crashed into him from behind. That doesn't sound quite right. There were handprints found on the chest of the victim's leather jacket. Mr. Payne, were there also prints found on the back of the leather jacket?
Well, no, there weren't.
Madam Faye, may I suggest that you listen a little more carefully? I said that he crashed into him from behind, right? My Feeny wouldn't leave any prints behind in that case, would he? The cable snapping and Dougie being electrocuted, it all occurred in less than a minute.
Did you actually witness the moment the victim was electrocuted?
I'm sorry, I didn't actually see it. I turned my eyes away.
That's understandable. Yes, indeed. It would have been a horrific sight for anyone to behold.
If I don't figure out the contradiction here, it's all over. She didn't have much time to come up with her lie, so this is my best chance. There must be a hole in her testimony somewhere. Think, Mia. I suspect... There was, when I was looking before trying to figure things out, the watch time and sort of when, like, things happen, I think that's too soon. So I'm just gonna... I don't know, it doesn't explain Cold Killer X, but I suppose we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. That's enough, witness. I'm afraid I don't understand. You will in a minute. Could you please take a look at this picture? Oh, that medicine. That's the one Feeny takes for his cold. It's not the medicine I want you to look at. It's the wristwatch. It stopped at the precise time the victim was electrocuted. In other words, 3:05.
Yes, and your point is, Miss Faye?
My point is this. What time was it when the lab suffered that power outage due to the cable snapping? Well, according to the student's testimony, the answer is clear. It was 2:55. Ugh! Would you care to explain to the court, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne, what exactly happened during this 10-minute interval? The defense proposes that it was during this interval that the real murderer killed Mr. Doug Swallow.
Order! Order in the court! What is this all about?
This is nonsense! The real murderer? Even you can't deny the time between the cable breaking and the electrocution are completely unaccounted for. And then who was it? Who else are you saying could have done it? There's only one person who could have murdered Mr. Swallow. Only after my client had left the scene. Was there a window of opportunity for the real killer?
Miss Faye, is the defense ready to indict someone as this real killer?
It's finally time. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Yes, Your Honor, we are ready.
Very well, but remember, if you accuse the wrong person, you will be penalized. Think very carefully before you speak, Miss Faye. Now then, Miss Faye, let's have... Who is this real killer?
It could have only been you, Dahlia Hawthorne.
How could... The defense is grasping at straws.
10 minutes passed between the time of the cable breaking and the time of the electrocution. What exactly were you doing the whole time, Miss Hawthorne? Were you really listening to some music while cheering them both on as they fought? I find that hard to believe that you didn't lift a finger to stop the men dearest to you.
Order, order. Miss Faye. I mean, what? That is to say...
Miss Hawthorne, I believe you did witness the two men fighting on that day. However, after Mr. Wright pushed the victim and subsequently left the scene, it was you who pushed Mr. Swallow to his death by your very own hands. How could you say something so mean, Madame Faye? I didn't do anything.
Miss Faye, this is a very serious charge you are...
Your Honor! Please, I have something I want to say.
You? What is it?
Please strike everything the defense said just now from the record. What the... Are you daft? You're totally wrong, Miss Faye. Dolly, she couldn't do something like that.
Mr. Wright, go back into your seat. Bailiff, grab that man.
Leave my dolly alone! That boy.
He's gotten himself way over his head.
Oh, Mr. Roseberg, you're back.
Seems I've arrived just in the nick of time. I found the police report on that incident in your newspaper clipping.
Thank you so much. This is exactly what I was hoping for.
You'd better take a good look at it. It, details how you came to lose your boyfriend. Now then, the defense has made a very serious accusation. Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this?
Well, really, Your Honor, May I interrupt you for a moment, Mr. Prosecutor?
Don't worry, my dear. I have this situation well in hand.
Go right ahead. Madam Faye, are you seriously accusing me of killing my sweet Dougie?
Yes, I am. Not only am I saying you murdered Doug Swallow, but you also tried to pin the whole thing on your current lover, Phoenix Wright. I told you that you should let me handle this.
Sorry. Please go ahead. How can you say that? I'm absolutely devoted to my dear Feeny. The notion that I would try to frame him is ludicrous. This is all just too much for poor little me to bear.
Oh, I believe that girl is trying to ask what on earth her motive would be. The answer to that lies somewhere in this police report. It must. 8 months ago, an incident occurred in the basement cafeteria of this building. And then that same date, the two of them accidentally met. Your Honor, the defense requests further testimony from Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Further testimony? What about? About the events of the day when she first met the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What could that possibly have to do with this case? The witness claims that she has no reason to frame the defendant. Am I correct? Well, I have evidence to suggest that she, in fact, has a very good reason. Very well then. The court grants the defense's request. Young lady, would you mind staying on for just a bit longer?
Of course not, Mr. Judge.
Get ready for the battle of your life, Dahlia Hawthorne.
I first met my darling Feeny 8 months ago. It's like we were destined to meet in this very courthouse basement reading room. The moment our eyes met, my heart skipped a beat. We've been going out ever since that fateful day. We're so lovey-wovey, we literally make people sick. It's just jealousy, I think.
Mr. Wright, do that again, and you will be held in contempt of court.
And now we enter the final act of our little drama.
As we used to say in the days of my youth, go get her.
I first met my darling Feeny 8 months ago. So until that time, you had been dating Doug Swallow. Yes, I'm a real fool, you know. Letting my emotions change so quickly, I'm ashamed of myself.
No, not at all. Look at me. I'm infamous for changing my mind. My critics have even taken to calling me Judge Fickle.
Maybe you should look for a different line of work.
Despite that, however, he always hands down the correct verdicts. That's why some people also call him the Great Judge-any.
It's like we were destined to meet in this very courthouse basement reading room.
The courthouse reading room. That's a strange place to meet the love of your life.
That's not true, Madame Faye. After all, Feeny was not only an art student, but he was also planning on becoming a lawyer.
I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about you, Miss Hawthorne. What was a literature student like you doing in a courthouse reading room?
This line of questioning is a waste of time. It has nothing to do with our murder case.
Miss Faye, I'm warning you. If this has nothing to do with Mr. Swallow's case, I have to remember the judge is on Dahlia's side. I better tread carefully.
Your Honor, if you'll allow me to some latitude, I think I can establish relevance. Please ask her to continue on with her testimony.
Very well. Young lady, I've got a simple question for you. What were you doing downstairs in the courthouse reading room?
If it pleases Your Honor, the answer is simply this. I had come to this courthouse to do some research for a paper I was writing.
I actually do need to read this.
Victim Diego, occupation lawyer, suspect Dahlia. This was on August 27th. Traces of poison were found in the victim. Armando ingested poison while interviewing a suspect regarding another case. Traces of poison were found in the victim's coffee cup. No poison was found in the vicinity or on the suspect's person. It is unclear how the poison entered the victim's cup. 27th. Miss Hawthorne, you weren't here because of your research paper, were you? Didn't you actually come here for a much more important reason? What is the meaning of this cocky smile on your face, Miss Fay? 8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse, there was another tragedy. Another tragedy? Do you mean the incident in which an attorney was poisoned? The name of the suspect in that incident is listed here in this report. And that name is Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne? Yes, the sweetie pie of everyone's eye, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. She was the prime suspect in a criminal case just 8 months ago.
Order, order, order. This is unbelievable. Is it true then? The loveliest road can hide the cruelest thorns.
Miss Fay, that's not fair. You can't slander my witness with an unrelated case. I, Winston Payne, will not allow it. Mr. Prosecutor, I believe I was speaking. Pardon me. Go right ahead. It's true about that 8 months ago. The police expressed some interest in me.
Expressed some interest, huh?
Mr. Judge, sir, I know I'm under oath, so I'll tell you the absolute truth. I did not commit the crime that occurred during that incident 8 months ago.
I see.
Okay. I've tied the two crimes together. Now I've just got to stay on the offensive.
Well done, Mia. Oh, you've really lit a fire in my heart and my buttocks. I can hardly tell which is more inflamed, my spirit or my hemorrhoids.
I met the lawyer who was poisoned to discuss something in the cafeteria that day. I left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happened. From what I heard, it was a liquid poison that is lethal at just 2 teaspoons. But not only that, I heard it was a very special kind of poison. So you see, I'm innocent. I wouldn't even know where to get a poison like that.
She was dating the pharmaceutical boy. So that's what happened. A year 8 months ago.
However, as you heard it from the witness's testimony, she had nothing to do with it. I think the defense is just about out of tricks. I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Payne, but I'm afraid the defense has many more tricks up its sleeve today. And I will be sure to show them to you before the end of this cross-examination. Ugh. Why does the defense suddenly feel stronger?
Javier, you're glowing with a true lawyer's aura, my dear. That proud posture and self-confidence are absolutely smashing.
I met the lawyer who was poisoned to discuss something in the cafeteria that day. What were you talking about with the defense attorney? Well, I'm sorry, but that's confidential.
According to the report, you were being interviewed regarding another case.
The lawyer that was killed. He said he wanted to talk about an incident I was caught up with when I was younger. Why don't you tell us all about what that incident was?
That is absolutely nothing to do at all with this case. Objection sustained. The defense's question is stricken from the record.
You get involved in a lot of incidents, don't you, Miss Hawthorne? Well, I guess I was just born under a bad sign.
Don't worry, Dolly. I'll protect you. You heard the man. Now that is true love, young lady.
Oh, Phoebe, please.
Ugh, those two really are making me ill. Albeit for that decidedly different reasons.
I left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happens.
How long were you gone?
I've already answered all these questions for the police. But if you must know, maybe 10 or 20 minutes?
And where were you during that stretch of time? Using the toilet?
What are you saying, Miss Faye?
Toilet? My perfect little dolly doesn't poop? You heard the defendant, Miss Faye. Better luck next time.
Oh, Phoebe, please.
The police have already looked into this whole matter. This line of questioning is nothing but a waste of the court's time. Objection sustained. Miss Hawthorne, please continue with your testimony.
From what I heard, it was a liquid poison that is lethal at just about 2 teaspoons.
About how much liquid is 2 teaspoons? Well, let me see. My bottle of eye drops says it's 1.5 fluid ounce, which is equal to 3 teaspoons. So it's about 2/3 of that amount, huh?
The poison was found in the lawyer's mug of coffee. It must have been after I left the table. Someone must have quietly slipped it in there. Not only that, I heard it was a very special kind of poison.
A special kind of poison? How so?
Well, I heard that it's almost impossible to detect.
Oh, and where would something like that come from?
I'm sorry, all I know is what I overheard the policeman saying. They said something about using advanced chemical process to purify it.
Chemical process? Well, very well, that's quite impressive. Most impressive!
The better question is, how did the criminal get something like that? So you see, I'm innocent. I wouldn't even know where to get a poison like that.
So in essence, the main reason Miss Hawthorne was never arrested for this crime was because no one could show how she could have obtained the poison. Then all we have to do is find a way to establish how she could have gotten some, right? Great. Now just how did a lit student get hold of poison of all things? Oh, it's so obvious. You wouldn't know how to get that kind of poison? I don't believe you.
What?
In fact, you had easy access to that kind of poison, didn't you? At your boyfriend's lab. Boyfriend? You mean the victim, Doug Swallow?
That's right. Up until 8 months ago, Miss Hawthorne was dating Mr. Swallow. And if you'll recall, Mr. Swallow was a pharmacology student at Ivy University. Pharmacology? His laboratory contained highly advanced chemistry equipment. In fact, without such equipment, the culprit could never have obtained such a rare and special poison. Well, Miss Hawthorne, it seems you had access to such a poison after all. And then, it was a matter of slipping it into the victim's coffee when he wasn't looking. The only person who could have done that was the one sitting at his very table. You. No!
Order. Could it be?
That's nothing but a baseless accusation. May I say something, Madam Faye?
What is it, Miss Hawthorne?
The amount of poison in the coffee was 2 teaspoons, correct? In order to carry that much liquid, you would need some kind of container.
Well, yes, that's true.
I was searched immediately after the incident took place. Quite true. In fact, the entire courthouse was turned upside down. But they didn't find a suspicious container anywhere, did they?
She's right. They even mentioned it in the report.
Well, you could have easily gotten rid of something that small. Excuse me, madam, but this is a court of law. If you're saying I threw the poison container away, I think you need to show some kind of proof. Proof? She got me good with that.
Provide some evidence, or I'll have to disallow this line of questioning, Miss Faye. Unless we can come up with some evidence, we're going to lose this lead.
The police conducted a full-body search of Dahlia and of the entire courthouse, and yet the container holding the poison disappeared right after the crime occurred.
If you're going to accuse the young lady of committing the murder, then where's the container the poison was carried in? What happened to it? That's why she kept asking it back from Phoenix. She didn't really want to be with him. She was using him.
You were forced to get rid of the container in a hurry, weren't you? And that's why you passed it on to someone who had nothing to do with the case. Someone that you knew wouldn't be searched. Who was this person? Mr. Phoenix Wright, of course. So the defendant was this witness's accomplice? Of course not. She gave the poison to him, disguised as a present. What? But that's...
That's a charming little necklace. Is this just a little bottle? It's really quite cute. So what about it? What does it mean, Miss Faye?
The day that the witness met and fell for Mr. Phoenix Wright was 8 months ago. August 27th, the very same day as the poisoning incident. Under the pretense of love, the witness gave my client a present. All for the purpose of hiding one piece of evidence that would give her away.
Well, are you saying there's a deadly poison in here?
No, there's no longer any poison in that bottle. However, I'm certain if the crime lab were to analyze it, they would find a trace amount. No!
Order in the court.
On behalf of Dolly, I object.
Mr. Wright, control yourself.
I won't let you bully her like this.
Mr. Wright, I thought I told you to stay in your seat.
Mr. Wright, why? Why are you going through so much trouble to protect her? Why? Because I'm madly in love with her.
Madly in love? I haven't heard anyone say that in a long time.
Mr. Wright, have you ever thought about this? Why exactly would a woman like Dahlia Hawthorne want to date you anyway? Well, I guess she must be madly in love with me too. Mr. Wright, please open your eyes. At this point in the trial, I think it should be obvious to everyone. The real reason that Dahlia Hawthorne is dating you is... Dahlia Hawthorne was not and is not madly in love with you. The only thing she is after is that bottle necklace you love to wear around your neck. My necklace? Back there in the waiting room, you said it yourself. Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now.
What a strange girl asking for a present back like that.
For Dahlia Hawthorne, that necklace is irrefutable evidence of her crime. That is why she absolutely had to get it back. You're lying. But you never gave it back to her. And to make things worse for her, you insisted on showing it to everyone you met. That's why she... I don't believe you. No, that's a lie!
Mia, are you alright? The defendant, he's getting away. Bailiff, hurry after him. Mia, are you alright?
Yes, I think so.
That boy, he went completely insane. Where's Mr. Wright? It looks like the bailiff caught him, so he should be back soon enough.
Thank goodness.
Oh no.
What is it? The bottle necklace. Miss Hawthorne's present. It's gone.
What? That's terrible. Mr. Wright must have grabbed it when he slammed into me.
This is absolutely nonsensical.
Foolish boy. That's the only thing that could have saved him. What in blazes are we supposed to do now? Mr. Wright, this sort of behavior is unprecedented in the history of this court.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid your apology is not enough. Mr. Wright, what did you do with the bottle necklace? Forgive me. I'm sorry. It's okay. Just give it back. Just give back the necklace. I ate it. You what? You ate it? It was too big to swallow, so I had to chew it into little bites first, but yeah. Ugh. What the? What is he doing now? Your Honor, we have got to stop this trial. Mr. Wright, are you feeling okay? Does your stomach hurt? The bottle you swallowed may have had some poison left in it. It seems the defendant has proven the prosecution's case for us. Clearly that bottle did not contain a deadly poison. How can you be so sure? I think that's obvious. As you can see, the defendant is still very much alive. As for the poison, more like a fledgling defense attorney's overactive imagination. So it would seem. No, there must be some mistake. The bottle must not have had any poison left in it. Either that, or the poison must have lost its potency. There. It's all right, Ricky. Trusting your client is the most noble thing a defense attorney could do. And it's heartwarming to see that you place this much faith in Mr. Wright. But that's how it is for us on the prosecution side, too. For example, I would trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life. Which is why I can state that your assessment of her is completely wrong. That's enough. Unfortunately, Miss Fay, I cannot accept your explanation of the events. But why? This may be impossible for a beginner like you to understand, but in a court of law, evidence is everything. Even after I prove so much, is she going to get away with everything? Well, now that the suspicion surrounding Miss Hawthorne has been cleaned up, I would like to proceed with the trial. Mr. Wright? I'm sorry, Miss Fay. It's totally slipped my mind. I'm really, really sorry. I know you believed in me, and I feel like I really let you down. Mr. Wright, what are you trying to say? There's something I forgot to tell you. What is it? That day, the day I met Doug Swallow. That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake. If you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There is something you need to know about that girl. Last night, someone stole some poison from our lab. Poison? The same thing happened 8 months ago. A drug sample was stolen. She came to the lab that time, too. It could only have been her. That girl is a thief. Stop it! Don't talk about her like that. Is it true? Did he really say that? That's ridiculous. There's one more thing. After I pushed him that day, I got worried and came back to have a look. And she was there. Dolly was right there. She was crouched down next to him. What? She told me not to ever tell anyone about it, but I'm sorry, Dolly. Your Honor, this the defendant is. Miss Fay, you tell them. Dolly didn't do it. She's innocent. So Dahlia stole poison 8 months ago, too, huh? If you put that together with Mr. Wright's testimony, then there's only one possible conclusion. The defense believes that Miss Dahlia Hawthorne stole some poison on the night before she killed Doug Swallow. The night before? Naturally, her motive for stealing it was to kill someone. Miss Fay, if you're so certain of your theory, then let me ask you this. Mia, this is your last chance. Think carefully now. There's something that she desperately wanted to get back. Therefore, exactly who was Miss Dahlia Hawthorne planning on killing? There was one person that was standing squarely in Miss Dahlia Hawthorne's way. And that person was Mr. Phoenix Wright. Me? That's preposterous. After all, it was Doug Swallow who was murdered. Well, it's true that that's how things worked out. But let's remember that Mr. Swallow died of electrocution, not poison. The person that Miss Hawthorne was planning to poison was, in fact, you, Phoenix Wright. There's no one else it could be. But how can that be? I thought Mr. Wright and Miss Hawthorne were in love. Poor Mr. Wright. This must be killing him. Hang in there. I'll bring her to justice, I swear it. As I said before, the only thing Miss Hawthorne truly cared about was the one piece of evidence linking her to that incident 8 months ago. That's right. That bottle necklace. That's all she cared about. But even so, why would she go so far as to murder him? 8 months ago, just after the fall of the attorney in the basement cafeteria, Dahlia Hawthorne could think of only one thing. How to get rid of the bottle necklace as quickly as possible. No, it can't be. It was a pretty good move she made, too. The evidence was missing for a long time. But there was just one big problem. Although she got him to hide the evidence, Mr. Wright refused to return it to her. To him, the tiny little bottle was a cherished treasure. He even showed it to everyone he met. You mean, that's why she tried to kill Mr. Wright? Correct, Your Honor. It was to retrieve that piece of evidence. That can't be true! Feeny, what a joke you are. There she is. Honestly, how can any woman ever count on you for anything? I even told you time and time again to keep your trap shut about me and that necklace. You disgust me. Miss Hawthorne, it appears that we're nearing the end of this trial. Fine, I can tell you plan on making me into a criminal no matter what I say. You are a criminal, Miss Hawthorne. We'll see about that. But first, where's your evidence? It seems your sniveling little crybaby of a client has eaten the bottle as a snack. Hey, old man, are you senile or something? Why don't you say something instead of sitting there with that dumb look on your face? Miss Hawthorne, what's happened to you? Are you really that shocked? Or do you prefer me this way, Mr. Judge? Oh. With absolutely no proof, you can treat a voluntary witness like she's a mass murderer. Well, I have nothing more to say. I'll be heading home now if you don't mind. But we're not finished. Fine. Then ask that nasty old hag to finish up already. I can't let her get away this time. Stop me. If you keep pushing without any evidence, you could pay the ultimate price as a lawyer. The ultimate price? You'd be forced to take off your attorney's badge forever, I'm afraid. No! You'd better think it over carefully, Miss Faye. Or should I say, Miss Gray? Well, Miss Faye, can you provide evidence that would establish her guilt once and for all? If I mess her up here, my career as a lawyer is over. But to be honest, at this point, I don't have any evidence that's well-founded. Even so, I'd rather lose my attorney's badge than let her get away with murder. Your Honor, the defense would like to present proof. Impossible. You can't possibly.
stupid woman. It's the opinion of the court that there has already been enough discussion. Therefore, I will allow only one piece of evidence to be presented. Just one. If you are unable to establish her guilt, then I'm afraid that a very harsh verdict will immediately be handed down on Mr. Wright. I understand, Your Honor.
I can just imagine the headlines for tomorrow's newspaper. Up-and-coming lawyer plummets to earth before she gets the chance to soar.
She was planning on poisoning Mr. Wright. If that's the case, then the poison was probably in there. Well, Miss Fate, please present your evidence. Show to this court irrefutable proof that Miss Hawthorne was planning on to poison Mr. Wright. So, she was going to poison Mr. Wright. And when Phoenix saw her, she was crouching beside the victim and she was holding his hand. I believe she was putting something in there, and there's that picture of the bottle of cold medicine, and the cold medicine was missing. So she probably took the cold medicine from Phoenix and added the poison in there. It's the only thing I can think of. It's the only thing we haven't really presented or talked about. Here it is, Your Honor. The evidence that will prove her guilt once and for all. Cold Killer X, Phoenix Wright's beloved cold medicine.
Does our rookie defense attorney have a bit of a cold?
If I did, I still wouldn't take this cold medicine. After all, it's been poisoned. What? Remember what the defendant said in his testimony? But I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. She was the one who took his bottle of Cold Killer X. Then she poisoned it, knowing that Mr. Wright was going to take some. Now you really are grasping at straws. After all, it was the victim, Doug Swallow, that was holding the medicine. I would like the court to recall the crime that happened here 8 months ago. Where did Miss Hawthorne hide the evidence? What are you talking about? 8 months ago, the poison was hidden in her bottle necklace, which she then gave to someone else for safekeeping. Someone she had accidentally run into in the reading room. My client, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Yes, that's right. She did the same thing this time as well. After shoving the victim, Mr. Phoenix Wright left the scene of the crime. That is when the murderer, Dahlia Hawthorne, appeared. With her, she was carrying the poison bottle of Cold Killer X. This, of course, was so she could carry out her plan to murder Mr. Wright. I believe she did testify that she was going to meet with the defendant. Yes, and she heard and saw everything that happened at the scene of the crime, including what the defendant and victim were arguing about, and the cut electrical cable. That's when she realized, I can't allow Doug to live. She used the severed electrical cable to silence him forever. Unfortunately for her, this is when the problem occurred. Mr. Wright, who she thought had left the scene, came back to check on the victim. And on top of that, because of the power outage, some students showed up as well. It's hardly any wonder that she was, as she put it, in a state of panic. Recall that she was carrying the bottle of poison cold medicine. She must have thought, what if they searched me like they did 8 months ago? 8 months ago! Yes, she disposed of the evidence exactly the same way as she did back then. She had someone else hold it. In this case, Doug Swallow. Oh, come on now. Everyone, surely you aren't fooled, are you? This stupid woman, she's nothing but a filthy, stinking liar. Right, Mr. Prosecutor? Yes, that's exactly right. It's just pure desperation. I wonder which one of us is the desperate one. So, Miss Hawthorne, this cold medicine, I wonder if you wouldn't mind taking some.
Well, Mr. Wright ate that necklace of yours, right? Now it's your turn to prove your innocence. What do you say? If I'm just a filthy, stinking liar, then there's no need to worry. So come on, show us. I dare you to take some of this medicine right now. Mia Fey! Do you think you've won? Well, do you, Mia Fey? That's just fine. For the time being, victory is yours. For the time being, well, I have a very long memory, you know. You and I will meet again. I'm certain of it. Well then, Mr. Judge, I'll see you later too, okay?
Yes.
I'm going to spend a little quality time with the men in blue now. I wish you all the best. It's finally all over. I refuse to accept this. The defense hasn't shown a scrap of evidence to support the outrageous claim.
But even so, your witness seems to have accepted it.
I don't care. I'm Winston Payne. And I don't believe one word that this rookie lawyer has said. Well then, Mr. Payne, let me ask you this. Yes. Would you care to try this cold medicine?
What?
Just a little earlier, I could have sworn you said... There. It's all right, rookie. For example, I would trust this witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life. So if she's so trustworthy, then I'm sure there couldn't possibly be any poison in here, right? You see, yes. And here comes the back pedal. Come on now, rookie killer. Show this rookie how it's done. How much trust do you really have for this woman? Are you willing to bet your life? Yeah! My hair! It's flying off! No!
Mr. Payne, about Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
Yes, Your Honor. I'll file papers for her immediate arrest.
Tragic but not surprising. I knew there was something suspicious about her from the very beginning.
Don't lie, just admit you were wrong.
By the way, Miss Fay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Was it just me, or did you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne seem to know each other?
Your Honor, whether we did or not has no bearing on this case.
Very well. Mr. Payne.
This can't be happening. It's a nightmare. It's like losing to my daughter.
It appears Mr. Payne has lost his spirit along with his hair. Does the defendant have anything further to say?
It can't be true. My dear Dolly.
Very well then. I believe I am ready to pass judgment and bring this trial to an end. The court finds the defendant, Phoenix Wright. This court is adjourned. Mia, you were wonderful in there. Thank you for everything.
Thank you for everything, Mr. Grossberg.
During the verdict, I thought my hemorrhoids were going to explode like Mount Vesuvius.
Mr. Grossberg, do you maybe think that you could stop talking about them?
Oh, that's rather rude. Anyway, this case really made me think. What does it really mean to have a relationship of mutual trust with the client? Perhaps if it is we veteran lawyers who have lost sight of this.
Oh, Mr. Wright. Congratulations. Thanks. You know, I was thinking... Go on. The dolly that I saw up there on the witness stand, I don't think that was really her.
What?
Yeah, the dolly I know could never have said those kinds of terrible things. Maybe she was like, I don't know, a fake or something. Boy, this poor kid still hasn't got a clue. You need to forget about her, Mr. Wright. For your own sake. Yeah, you're right. That's probably for the best. Also, you need to relax a bit more. Try to grow up a little. But out of all my friends, everyone says I'm the most grown up. Ugh, what kind of company does this guy keep? Right now, I'm studying to become a lawyer myself. That's what you keep saying. But I thought you were in the art department. Well, yeah, I am. But there's a friend that I desperately want to help. And if I hurry, then I should still be able to save him in time. Oh, Edgeworth. I see. Say, Miss Faye. A lawyer is someone who can help people when they're in trouble, right? Mr. Wright, I'm still new at this myself, but I think that's exactly what a lawyer is. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'll study my butt off. I'll become a lawyer for sure. I hope we see each other again someday. Maybe even in court. It's been 5 years since I was acquitted of all charges. I became a lawyer like I planned and managed to save my friend. But Mia has passed on to a better place. For me, this trial brings up a lot of painful memories. But it also brings up some very precious ones. And memories that I thought would never rise to the surface again. Mia is gone now. But even so, I can hear her in my mind. Phoenix, no matter what, always believe in your client. In a court of law, your greatest weapon is your belief. 5 long years. Something has happened that's made me think back to our words of wisdom. But that is a story for another day. Who is this man? I see Maya. I see some crazy shit going on here. More magic? Oh, please no more clowns. We're gonna start this one, but we probably won't do any investigation stuff, and we'll call it super early. I think that's fine. I feel a touch under the weather. My throat is really, really killing me. So I think it's good to be cautious this coming week with just how much Phoenix Wright I do and how much talking I put into this. The time is 1 a.m. Ooh. Detective, we made it. Whew. What a relief. Glad the jewel is still safe. Oh, it's Gumshoe. Oh, you said it, pal. It must have been our rock-solid security that scared him off. Would you mind opening the safe just to double-check? Ugh! We've been had! Out front! Guards! Turn on the searchlights! Better luck next time, gentlemen! Oh god. Excuse me, but I'm afraid I must be leaving now. We shall meet again when the next moon is full. Oh boy. Hey Nick, get a load of this. Hey, are you listening to me? You can clean the toilet later. This is important. What are you freaking out about now? Today will be the last time you talk to me that way. Huh? We're about to hit the big time. Big time? And what do you mean by we? You don't mean you and me, or... Ha! Don't be silly. I'm talking about me and... Pearly, of course. Hello, it's a pleasure to see you again, Mr. Nick. Pearls, you haven't changed a bit. Wait, what are you doing here anyway? Haven't you heard, Mr. Nick? Here, take a look at this. What's this, some kind of poster? Crane Village, isn't that... That's right, it's our hometown, Pearly and mine, that is. What's this about treasures from the boonies? Huh, very funny. You can laugh all you want. But you'll be singing another tune tonight. And tonight? What about tonight? The Treasures of Crane exhibit doesn't actually start until next week. But the promoter sent us some special VIP entry passes. That's why I dressed up extra special today. What do you think, Nick? Same Maya, different day. This young lady here is Maya Fey, the younger sister of Mia Fey, my friend and mentor. I first met her 2 years ago. I was working on the case surrounding Mia's death, and ever since then, I've been the one who's been keeping this law office afloat from behind the scenes. Actually, that's just a cover for her true identity. In reality, she's a spirit medium, and a bit of a shady character. Hey, who are you calling shady? And this little girl is Pearl Faye, but I usually just call her Pearls. She's Maya's cousin, and a spirit medium in training herself. I know I'm a bit young, but I want to help in any way I can, Mr. Nick. Crane Village is the home of the mysterious Crane channeling technique, and Maya here is the daughter of the Crane School of Channeling's master. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's no joke. I've seen her power with my own eyes. It's the real thing, alright. Earth to Nick, how long are you going to make two gorgeous women like us wait? Yes, Mr. Nick, I can't wait any longer. I want to see the exhibit. Looks like I don't get a choice here. Might as well head out and... Lordy Taylor, the city's fanciest and most expensive department store. Lordy Taylor. Treasure exhibit, huh? I have to admit I'm pretty impressed. Ooh. Wow. This is awesome! Yeah, you can make even the cheapest junk look great. It all depends on how you display it. Oh! They even have the dusty old hanging scroll that was in the Fame Manor storeroom. Oh yeah, I remember scribbling on it when I was a little girl. On a family heirloom? Say, Nick, the person in charge of this exhibit is waiting for us in the basement warehouse. Alright, I guess we should go and say hello. I was hoping this would, we would find our client a little bit faster so that I could move on with my life. Yep, this is the basement warehouse, alright. This place is scary. I feel like a monster could jump out at any time. Don't be scared, Pearly. I'll protect you. Oh, Mr. Wright. A monster, you were right. Huh? A monster? Oh. Good evening. It's good to see you again. You, I know you. Nice to see you again too, little miss. Hello. Is she a friend of yours, Nick? And how do you know her, Pearly? Nice to meet you. I'm Adrian Andrews. How are you? You're out of jail already? I'm in charge of the promotion and planning for this treasure exhibit. I'm also responsible for the security arrangements. Oh, nice to meet you. Adrian sure has changed since we last met. Yeah, she's wearing black now. So this is the warehouse. The really valuable exhibit items are still stored away in here. It really has been a long time, hasn't it, Mr. Wright? Nick, what's going on? Who is this woman? Why are you freaking out on me? What? I just thought it'd be more dramatic if I got all worked up, that's all. Mystic Maya! You shouldn't let him off the hook so easily. Please, Maya, don't say anything that'll needle pearls further. Mr. Wright was there for me when I really needed help. It was something that happened 7 months ago. You remember, don't you? The Nickel Samurai case? Not really. I was stuck in a dark wine cellar. Did that escape your memory, Nick? After that, I quit being a manager and started this job. Wow, that's tough. I'm sorry, Miss Andrews. If it wasn't for us... No, don't say that. I'm glad the whole thing happened. Thanks to you and everyone else that was involved, I was able to change my whole life. I really am grateful. Whew, that's a relief. How did you get out of jail? I'm really impressed, Miss Andrews. Handling a huge exhibit like this must be very tiring. Well, Lordy Taylor is celebrating their 200th anniversary this year. The works on display in the main exhibit hall are worthy of the finest museums. Woohoo! Did you hear that, Pearly? The finest museums. Yes, I did. That's really wonderful. So this basement warehouse is pretty well protected, huh? Of course it is. After all, there are some priceless treasures here. The security guards are all very highly trained as well. That sounds good. So what is with that face she's making? Look, a ladder. That's a step ladder. So what's the difference? You need to stop judging things based on narrow-minded cultural assumptions, Nick. Right, sorry. Why do I feel like we've had this exact same conversation before somewhere? Oh, look at that. Mystic Maya, take a look next to the door. That's Mystic Ami, right? Yes, that's the statue of the woman who invented the Korean channeling technique, Ami Faye. This statue is on loan from some of the training halls of the Faye branch family. In fact, it just arrived this morning. What's that creepy-looking thing she's holding? Don't ask me! How should I know? Well, you are the future master, right? Maybe so, but this is the first time I've ever seen this statue. That thing is the Korean, Shishikato. Oh, that's gonna be rough when I have to say that a billion times. Shikishito. What if I Google this word? Shikishito. Tell me how to say it, Google. It's not gonna. Kishidao. Well, I'll try, but it's only gonna get super fucked up. It's a ceremonial store. Man, I'm trying. It's not a real weapon, so the blade isn't sharp. Oh, Pooey. I wanted to cut something. What are you eyeing me for? Oh, look. It's already 8. Have you all eaten yet? Well, actually, I've already made a reservation at the restaurant on the 12th floor. Why don't we all dine together? Oh, I like the sound of that. Dine. It sounds so fancy. I'll have a kid's lunch. Pearly, it's dinner, not lunch. Why don't you go for it and really eat your fill with a kid's dinner? Okay, in that case, 1 kid's dinner for me. Shall we head upstairs then? After that pleasant eating, all that remained was to wait for the exhibition's opening. It was wonderful seeing Miss Andrews looking so happy. None of us could have imagined that the very next day something terrible would have happened. Nick, this is terrible! Oh, what the? No, she's working at this museum thing that's happening. We just happened to run into her.
and she was happy to see us, and somehow out of jail after only like 7 months. What the? You're cleaning the toilet again? I never knew you were such a toilet freak! And give me a break, would you? My brain just hit the snooze button for the 5th time. I'm going to turn on the TV. We've got an update in the recent treasure heist. Based on clues found at the scene of the crime, authorities have announced that they believe it was the work of renowned phantom thief, Mask de Mask. Mask the Mask? According to a spokesperson, Lordy Taylor received a threat letter some days ago. This is the 5th heist by the phantom thief, who only targets rare treasures. Lordy Taylor? Well, Nick, what are you going to do? Don't you dare go back to scrubbing the toilet. Treasure? Lordy Taylor, you don't think... Yes, now get up, Nick. It was stolen by Mask to Mask. Our most valuable treasure. The Current Sacred Urn was stolen. What? Refresh my memory a little. What's this sacred urn? It's only the most important treasure in Current Village, that's all. Look, it's right there on the poster. Oh, the one pearl broke. Don't you remember what's inside? The urn contains a very important soul. Namely the soul of Mystic Ami Faye, the founder of the Current channeling technique. Right, Pearly? Yes, that's right! Hold up. I thought that urn had the name Ami written on it. Now it says I am. Any idea how that happened, Pearly? Huh? Oh my. Well... There's some things best left unsolved, wouldn't you say, Mr. Nick? That's right. 1 year ago, there was a murder in Current Village, Maya's hometown. The sacred urn. It turned out to be an important clue in that case. Okay, the toilet is shinier than the judge's head, so let's see what's next. What's wrong with you, Nick? What do you mean? What do you mean? Mr. Nick! Your beloved Mystic Maya's treasure has been stolen. I was aware. I have heard it's not very good. But loyal to the games. So not very good in the sense that, like, I think it's not very well animated. I've seen the opening. It was crazy. Yeah, it's the games 1-for-1, from what I understand, which is why I didn't watch it. But I have seen some, like, GIFs, I would say, and the animation looks pretty janky. Your beloved Mystic Maya's treasure has been stolen! Doesn't that even bother you? But I thought the urn was the village's treasure, so I don't see how... The village is Mystic Maya! She's the future of the master of the Korean School of Channeling! You know what I'm talking about, Mr. Nick. I won't let you say you don't. Okay, I do. So what am I supposed to do about it? Isn't it obvious? Go find the bad guy who did this! Yeah! And get the sacred urn back. But I'm not a detective. I'm a lawyer. That has nothing to do with this! If you're a real gentleman, you would go find it for your beloved Mystic Maya! Man, oh man. There's no winning against Pearl's fairy tale image of love. So what's the name of this bad guy again? Mask de Mask, Nick? Make a note of it. Mask de Mask. Ah, it was terrible. I was arrested and everything. 1 year ago, the murder in Current Village. A man was killed during one of Maya's spirit channelings, and this urn wound up being a key piece of evidence that proved her innocence. Mr. Nick, would you mind not telling Mystic Maya about that? You promised, remember? You said you wouldn't tell anyone I broke the urn. Oh yeah, that's right. Now I remember. This urn used to say Ami on it. Until Pearls accidentally broke it into a million pieces. She tried to secretly fix it. Let's just say it didn't work out so well.
Sorry. I'm not so good at arts and crafts. Spelling either.
Anyway, this is how her gluing project turned out. She put the pieces together wrong, and now instead of Ami, it says I am. I can't believe no one's noticed this until now, a whole year later.
I can't believe it myself.
Okay. I thought we'd find our client by now, but there's something else completely going on. So I'm going to call it, because my voice, is having a rough time this week, so I gotta be careful during the Phoenix Wright streams. I know! She's just our daughter now. We have kept her. We have stolen her. But to be fair, her only parent, is in prison, so... She just stays with us now. I technically think both these girls should go into child services, but thank you for the sippy. But here we are. We just now have a child. But that's gonna be... Oh, let me save before I forget. It's okay. We have Nier soon. Nier in an hour and a half. Which should be good. I have to remember to do some fishing. I think we still have more side quests to do. But thank you so very, very much for being here. I'm gonna be taking it easy on Phoenix Wright this week and not getting too... They probably will be shorter than usual just in case I am getting sick, but we'll see. I will be back with Nier Replicant in an hour and a half. And more Phoenix Wright tomorrow at 2 p.m. EST. I hope to see you there. Otherwise, have a very lovely afternoon, and I will hope to see you soon. Goodbye.